What's going on, guys? You're well here, and welcome to Confabulate, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything. I'm your host, Will Sanchez. Thank you so much for stopping by. And today, guys, we have one of my best friends here. I'm super excited to have her on. Brianna Pizano is on. Thank you for stopping by, Bri. You've been a guest that I've kind of wanted on since the beginning because I always felt like you were perfect for this, just because you like to speak your mind and you love to talk. I feel like you should have your own podcast.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I could not stop talking if that was possible.
Yeah, so that's why I've been very excited to have you on. For my closest friends, I always ask them first, like, how did we first meet? Do you remember how we first met?
I feel like we might have met before this, but I feel like this specific instance was the start of our friendship. Mm-hmm. And it was track and field. It was my first season ever, our sophomore year. And again, I mean, I'm sure like we talked our freshman year, but like sophomore year really like solidified our friendship. And it was track and field, a scrimmage at Aptos. And it rained. Right. Yeah. It rained that day, and it wasn't supposed to, but it did. And all of our shit was getting wet, but we were all the way down like at the bottom of the field. And so we ran up to go get all of our stuff. And I just remember somebody trying to pitch the tent over all of our stuff, and all the water fell on me. Oh, no. And like three other people, we just got drenched in water, and I was like shivering my butt off. And you were like, oh, like I have an extra hoodie if you want to borrow it. And I was all like, no, it's okay. But then like I was soaked, so I was like, yeah, screw it. And so I had your hoodie for the rest of the day, and then we all kind of just hung out in like this little group. And I know there's two pictures from that day that was like kind of iconic, and it was like me giving you a piggyback ride.
Yes.
And iconic. then there was a group picture, and it had like a couple of us in it.
That one is very random.
It is very random because I don't talk to like at least 3 people in that picture. Mm-hmm. Like religiously, I don't talk to them.
Yeah.
I was like, I think like Garo, I still talk to Garo. Like, I'm like, hey, what's up? Or just like, you look so cute. Oh my gosh.
For me, I remember that very clearly, but I thought our first interaction was at a field trip, a SLU crew field trip, to some shit in Moss Landing, and it was you, me, and Ruby, like, in a group, and that's how I remember first meeting you. And my first
freshman year, right? Was that also sophomore year?
Yeah, because I did SLU crew sophomore year.
Yeah.
And my first reaction was like, oh my god, she's a handful.
Yep.
Because you were talking... Yep. As soon as they would ask a question, you would raise your hand and answer, and then you would speak in front of everyone. I'm like, wow, she's like so talkative. And I'm just like...
That's literally everyone's first impression of me is like, wow, she talks a lot, or like, wow, she's so loud, or oh my god, she's so annoying. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you can either take me or not. It's like either or. It's just like, I'm either tolerable or not. Mm-hmm. And weirdly, most of my friends are introverts. So I don't think it would work out in our friend group if we had another extrovert.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah. We need an extrovert in every conversation.
Yeah, all of my friends are just introverts with like a dash of extrovertedness, but for the most part, like if you think back to like our entire friend group, like history, mm-hmm. It's just a lot of introverts.
Yeah, you're right. I wanted to ask about ASB. What did ASB teach you, like, about yourself, or how did you grow from that experience?
I think, so I did it my sophomore year. Like, I applied my sophomore year. So I did ASB my junior and senior year. And I feel like, in a sense, I grew because I was given, like, a decent amount of responsibility. The first year I did it, but the thing is that the first year I ever did ASB was also the first year we didn't have an actual ASB teacher, so it was like double responsibility because not only were we all trying to figure out how to do things, but teach a new ASB teacher as well, you know?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like double the work. So I feel like it really taught me a sense of independent work. Like, I could ask for help, but most of the time I wouldn't get like a helpful answer. Not that they weren't trying, it's just like we all just didn't know what was happening and what was going on. So I learned to just kind of make decisions for myself and like what seemed like the right choice. So that really taught me to just like think on my own feet and trust my own judgment and just go off of there. And I mean, it kind of worked out because the following year I was put in charge of my category, I guess you could say. Because I mean, I did my job and I did it well. Like I just did what I had to do and I kept moving forward. If I had to work collaboratively with like another subgroup, perfectly fine. Like I had no problem either being a team player or a team leader. Like it was just smooth sailing. And my first year, which was junior year, I also, like, I don't know, again, like, it just was natural to me to, like, see someone struggling and just be like, oh, like, what's up, you know? And that was with our ASB teacher. She was like a choir teacher from Aptos.
Yeah.
And she just looked like so lost, like worse than us. We were already lost at it, but she just looked double lost because, I mean, yeah, she was just a choir teacher, you know? She didn't really know what was up, how our school, like, community was, like, you know? And I just stopped by, like, after school, and I was like, yo, what's up? And she's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. You know, like, I sat with her for, like, an extra 2 to 3 hours after school, and I was just like, oh, well, like, usually when we do this is what happens, you know? And, like, usually around this time, these are the events we do, you know? And we ended up doing, like, I don't even remember what they're called. What were those lessons we would do each month?
Pride.
Yes, pride. I forgot what they were called. I was an unofficial link leader junior year, and then I was actually one of my senior years, so I don't really know much about that. But yeah, pride, there we go. Mm-hmm. She did a whole pride lesson about that. She wrote me like a little mini letter about how helpful that was. I still have it because it did mean a lot to me. That sense of, like, is it recognition? Yeah, like, you know, I did something good that I didn't realize was good. I was just, like, trying to be helpful, and she wrote me, like, a thing. And it meant a lot, and I was like, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have people like that because she was really struggling, and I feel like she wasn't really expecting anyone to, like, reach out and help her out. But you did.
Not even the staff members, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because that year we also had a lot of new staff members. So, again, like, that specific year, 2017, that school year was so messy because we just had so much new staff and so much, like, I don't know, it was such a weird transitional period for North County in general that it was just kind of chaotic.
Yeah, but in the beginning when you first applied, what made you want to apply?
I don't know. I'm sure when I applied I gave some cheesy answer like, I want to be part of the school. Yeah. But like a true motivation, I don't know. I just felt like for me, ASB and who I was in high school just went hand in hand. I don't really know how else to explain it, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like I blossomed well in ASB. Because any other subject I blossomed in was, like, science. Yeah. And those were, like, for me, like, with my ADHD in high school, other subjects, like, if I just didn't like them, I didn't like them. And chemically, I can't do anything about it. But, like, when it came to, like, chemistry, you know, bio, marine biology, like, those subjects, I just flourished and I felt comfortable, I felt happy. And no other class made me feel that way besides ASB. Because I felt like I had creative freedom to just let my brain do what it wanted to do, you know?
Yeah. I wanted to mention that all the ASBers are so hardworking. Like, I would see you guys either early in the morning or after school, during school, setting up chairs, tables, coloring, decorating, you fucking name it. And there were a handful of times where I would, like, show up early and I want to help out or I'd help you guys clean up afterwards. But I just wanted to mention that ASB, all you guys are hardworking and it's the whole year and it takes a lot of work and dedication.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, like, there's certain aspects where you have to pull a little lag because some people aren't given 100 and it happens. Right. But yeah, like, honestly, like, yeah, for the most part, everyone was really hardworking. And the crazy part is that a lot of people would be like, well, it's just school or, like, whatever, like, it sucked or, like, the lack of school pride or whatever. But I'm like, that's just a mentality. If you honestly just kind of give into it, it would be such an enjoyable experience.
Right.
Because we truly did put a lot of effort into, like, doing it, like, by North County students, for North County students kind of vibe. And I'm like, the whole point is to make sure it's enjoyable for everybody. Like, you know, I was like, I know I've heard a lot from other ASBs from, like, other schools, and they're like, oh my God, they're so stuck up, and, like, oh my God, like, they don't do shit for us. But I'm like, genuinely, we're such a small community and such a small graduating class that it just, like, nothing was selfish. It was all selfless. You know, we're just like, okay, we're trying to do this dance for you, or we're trying to do these food booths for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, sometimes it was kind of sucky, like, getting up at 6 a.m. to do chalk walks just for
Right.
people to not even acknowledge it. And you're like, whatever. Like, somebody did. Somebody saw this and was like, this is cool. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Super cool. Next up, I wanted to mention Slew Crew. Like you said, you started sophomore year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So, what did you love most about Slew Crew? What did it teach you? What was it like being in that club?
I think the fact that my personality took over that club.
Mm-hmm.
I started off as a club historian. And then from then on went to like taking on presidential vice president roles my junior and senior year. And it was like my little baby. Like, I don't know, like I think it was the Go Green Club before it was Slew Crew. And that was our freshman year, but then like it changed our sophomore year. And I just remember just being obsessed with the fact, like, its ideology, just like, helping the environment, becoming, more environmentally aware and stuff like that. And I was like, ooh, I'm down, like, I like this. And then it just grew from there, because then we started putting a lot of effort into like Earth Week. Well, it went from Earth Day to Earth Week because we were like, it deserves a whole week. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up doing a whole week. All the like cleanups we did, like, I don't know, it was just so much fun, and like I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I liked it.
When I started, I was just like an active member. I think sophomore year, I was just like a member. And then junior and senior year, I was the historian. Absolutely loved it. And I love that we were changing like our community. Like, we did a lot for that school. I feel like people didn't really realize.
Dude, changing the sporks into separate things,
exactly.
Getting the water fountains to have water bottle refillable stations.
The pouches.
Yeah.
We changed them to the pumps.
Yeah, the pumps. Yeah, the ketchup pumps instead of ketchup packets.
Recycling bins.
The recycling system that honestly failed so many times, and I wish we could have gotten it down, but it was so hard to work with like administration and like everything. But we tried for like 2 years in a row to just get a proper recycling. And I remember spending my lunches and my breaks checking teacher recycling bins and stuff. You remember that? Or like during, I think, a certain period, we would go and check them. Like, I think it was like either once a week or once a month.
Yeah. I think what pissed us off is that one time after school, we saw a janitor cleaning a classroom, and he would grab the recycling bin
and throw it in the trash. And we asked him, and he was all like, well, it's because we don't have a bigger recycling bin to put all the recycling from today into that big recycling bin. And we're like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
And so it was always crazy finding solutions and then finding out that there was a problem even deeper. And it just further stretched into like administration. It was no longer just like our school. It was like the entire district that was doing this.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like, and honestly, like, I feel like if we would have started that recycling program since our freshman year, maybe we would have had enough time to completely fill it, but we didn't start until like junior year. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we just didn't have enough time. And then after we left, like, I don't know what they did afterwards. I never like followed up or anything like that.
Yeah. I think about that sometimes. I'm just like, I wonder if North County like ever kept it up or kept working hard, not just with like recycling and the whole thing, but like
just in general.
Yeah, with other stuff,
like making more differences in general.
Because I feel like we did a lot of change when we were there, so I wonder if they just kept up with it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that we went to a trip to Catalina Island, and I absolutely loved it. The second we got there, I'm just like, oh, this is it, I'm gonna be here for a week. But it was a moment that I will never forget. And I think a big part of that was just having you guys there. Because if you guys didn't go there, I feel like I would have had a shit time.
No, definitely.
So did you love Catalina Island?
I religiously love Catalina Island for one major reason. And it was the fact that before Catalina Island, I was not speaking to Anais for like a while. And and it was the stupidest reason. It was absolutely the stupidest reason, like broken telephone kind of vibe. And if it wasn't for Catalina Island and us literally being forced to be next to each other and like be around each other, we probably would have kept it up for like another week or two, But it was only the stupidest thing. And then like it is one of those realizations where you're like, why am I mad? Why are you mad? And then you finally say why you're mad, and you're like, wait, I didn't say that. And then you're like, wait, I didn't do that. And then you're like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And then just like what we did together, like I'm somebody whose love language is quality time. So just doing things with like my friends and like the people I love, I'm just like, I'm content. I don't care what we're doing. We could be sitting next to each other on our phones on the couch with music playing, and I'm fine with that because we're spending time with one another. Yeah. So I was like, that whole week was so much fun, and like we got to like, I honestly like, I got close with the other people that went. Like I probably would never have spoken to them if we didn't go on that trip.
Yeah.
And it was super nice. It was so much fun. Like so many weird things happen that you're like, what the fuck?
Yes.
And we just kept, rolling with the punches. You just keep moving and smiling. Mm-hmm. So many inside jokes came out of that. Like
it was someone's birthday every day.
Yeah, it was someone's birthday every day because of Ishmael. Ugh. God. The laughs. Like it was so much fun. And I remember crying also because I think they let us know that Miss Gardea's baby was born.
Yes.
While we were on the trip. And I don't know, like, I have such an idolization for all of my math and science teachers. Like, I don't know why. Like, if they are hearing this, I'm embarrassed. But yes, I have such an idolization for them. It's crazy. And so when they had to, especially Miss Gardea, like, oh my God.
Marshallek and Gardea, we love you.
Yeah, like the Marshalleks.
Yes,
it's
both
plural.
Of you. Sorry.
Yes. I was like, I have such an obsession that I'm like, oh my God, like I want to be like them one day, Or like I just want to inspire somebody else like that one day, no matter what profession I go into.
Wow.
And yeah, so when they told us Miss Gardea, I literally was like in the verge of tears because I was so happy. Like I was so excited. It was literally just tears of like excitement. Because I was like, oh my God, I was so happy for her because her baby was born. And I was like, that's crazy. Like,
she's having another baby?
And so is the Marshalleks.
Oh my God, you're right. I feel like I'm getting old.
I know.
Because the Marshalleks baby's already a year old. Oh my God.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, I guess this kind of applies to what we just talked about, but are there like any other teachers or those specifically that left a positive impact on you? I don't want to put negative impact because I know you have your list of the negative
definitely
impacts.
It's not even a negative impact. It's just like I could have lived my life without having some of the things said to me by certain staff members. Yeah. That's it. But positive, definitely my both ASB teachers I've ever had, both of them. Not this temporary one. I don't even remember her name. I just remember all the times we hid from her. She was like a temporary ASB teacher. I didn't really like her. But the ASB teacher we had our junior year and Miss Lowenson, like absolutely awesome people. Super hardworking. And then of course the Marshalleks. So down to earth, so like relationship goals. Right. Right. And they're just, I don't know, they're such kind people that it was just so infectious. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so nice. And then same with Miss Gardea. Like, she was always so peppy and, like, awake. I literally don't know how else to describe her personality, but just, like, awake and aware. And, like, even when she was stressed out, she was just like, okay. Right. And, who else? Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm drawing a blank. Why did I just... Katie. Oh my God. Katie Polf.
Oh, Katie. Okay.
Katie. Right. Yeah. Katie. Absolutely. Katie. 100%. She wasn't even like a teacher at North County, but she was just like our SLU crew advisor.
Very sweet, thoughtful.
She reached out to me after high school too, like telling me like, I'd like just asking, like checking up on me and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Like whenever she would tell us about her travels and stuff, I'm like, I'm going to do that one day. Like, not even I want to. I'm like, no, I'm going to do that one day. I don't care when it is, but I could be 80 and I'll finally swim with a whale shark just because Katie did it.
She messaged me too. She saw hippos in person. That's literally my dream.
I know.
And she sent me a pic. Look what I woke up to this morning. I'm like, what?
I know. She just does such incredible things that I'm like, I have to do that. Like, I absolutely have to do that. It's just incredible. I'm like, she's so smart. She's so hardworking. She's so well-traveled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
I need to send this to them when we upload this.
Oh my God.
Because I'm sure they're not going to
watch. I think, no, but I'm pretty sure they know how much they meant to us. Like, they have to. Because I'm like, we were always talking to them. We're always like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But definitely, like, they're just, like, some incredible people. And amazing educators. Like,
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I feel like educators and teachers don't really know how much of an impact they leave on their students. Because they could really, not only...
Oh, and Mr. Parker.
Oh, Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention Mr. Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even mention yearbook. How we were in yearbook. You weren't really in yearbook, but you were in yearbook. You worked really hard in yearbook.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realized. Well, I don't think a lot of people cared, but I did yearbook without doing yearbook. I wasn't in the class, but I was always showing up early to school anyways. So I was like, oh, I think I asked you and Denise and stuff. I was like, oh, do you guys need an extra hand or something? And you're like, yeah, people don't really show up and like this yearbook's got to get done. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind showing up, and like helping out. And I asked Mr. Parker and he was like, go for it. Like what am I going to do? Stop you? And I was like, okay. So like I would just show up and like help fill in articles or help pick up photos that were missed or, just do what I could to help. And I think I got backlash for it one time, but we won't talk about it because it's a positive podcast right now. Positive vibes only.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you, me, and Anais, and I think someone else I can't really remember, but we were probably the most hardworking ones there because I remember when I think of
Sebastian, I think I saw Sebastian there like every day.
Yeah. Because I was just so sick and tired of people showing up 20 minutes before the bell's supposed to ring, and then there was a moment when everything happened to Mr. Parker, and I'm like, guys, we have a yearbook to make. It's supposed to be done in like 2 months, and everyone's on their phones.
Yep.
And then it was just like, I felt like I just had to get it done on my own and just tell you, hey, Bree, we need to do this, this, and this. How are we going to do it?
Yeah.
I need to go to this club, and I need to go to this game, and I need to take pictures of these teachers.
I know it got really bad because I was only supposed to be there to help, like, fill in stuff, And then I remember it getting so bad that Mr. Parker literally assigned me whole pages. Yeah. Like, he was like, I need you to be in charge of this, this, and this. And I was like, that's fine, like, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I can multitask like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. I was like, it's totally, and I ended up doing like the senior pages because nobody else was doing them. Like, I did the whole superlatives. Like, I was like, okay, I got to figure out, who, when to pass out the vote. I think Giselle helped me with that one. And Denise, like, passing out like the voting things, collecting them, counting them. And then I had to like track down the people that won the superlatives and then photograph them and then like put them together in the pages. And I'm like, yeah, it was a process. Like, I know it looks easy, but it's the process of getting to those photographs. Yeah. That takes a while. And then, there's always arguments like which superlatives should be allowed and which shouldn't. And I'm like, it's not our decision. Like, it's just what the school allows and what it doesn't. That's it. Yeah, and I remember as soon as I would get home every day, I just log in and just start working on the yearbook. And I remember like the night before we were supposed to submit it, I went through the whole thing. There were so many missing things. Mistakes. And there were so many mistakes and missing things. I cannot believe we were about to submit this. Yeah. And even after we submitted and everyone there were so many mistakes afterwards too. Yeah, then, I got like, so many messages. I'm just like, I'm sorry. It's like there's only so much we can do. Yeah. Like, I absolutely, like, honestly, it was intense. It was. And and the shitty part is that I didn't have a login because I wasn't like in the class. So I didn't get a login. So it's not like I could have helped from home. I could literally only help once I was in the class for like that small period of time. And then, like when that whole thing happened with Mr. Parker, that destroyed me. Like, that absolutely destroyed me. Yeah. And like, I think it affected all of us kind of like in different ways. But like, for me, it was just extra personal because like I would show up and I literally, it to this day, it still affects me like in a way, And it was like, I showed up. It was a fresh Monday, and I don't remember if I hadn't shown up. And the crazy part is I would always apologize for, like, being late or not showing up. And he's like, Brianna, you're not in the class. And I'm like, I know, but I just, like, there's, like, a sense of responsibility now, And so I remember, I don't know if I didn't show up that Friday or if I didn't show up that Monday. But I remember apologizing for not showing up. And I told him, I was like, oh, it's because I was, like, really sick. Like, I don't know, like, it's flu season. And he was like, oh, no, like, no way. My wife is, like, feeling under the weather too. And I was like, oh damn, really? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like, it's just a flu. Like, it's like whatever, it doesn't matter, moving on.
Yeah.
And that went on for the entire week. And every day I showed up, he would ask me how I was feeling, and I would ask him how his wife was feeling. And like progressively as I got better, his wife just got worse. And it absolutely tore me to pieces when he just stopped showing up to class and everyone was like hella confused. And the shittiest part was that I didn't even get told, like, I don't know. I feel like everybody knew what happened and I didn't. And everyone was just being weird about it. And then like somebody blurted it out at the table, like during break. I think like 3 days after he had stopped showing up, 3 or a couple days. And they were like, "Oh, you didn't know?" And I tried so hard to like contain my feelings because at that point it was very routine for me to be like, "Oh, good morning, Mr. Parker. Like, how is your wife?" And he's like, "Oh, it's not doing so hot." And he'd be like, "Well, how are you feeling?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm feeling so much better. Thank you for asking." And like that went on for a whole week until he just stopped showing up. And then again, like 3 days later, somebody was like, "Oh, you didn't know?" And I was like, "I didn't know what?" And they just said it. And it was, you know, when people are like, "Oh, that triggers me," you know, or like that's a trigger word for me. I used to think, not that I didn't think it was real, but I thought it was like, I would never experience that. But hearing those words out of whoever said its mouth, like it triggered me so hard, and I just broke down. And I have a thing about crying at school. I think a lot of people probably do, but but I don't like crying at school. Or really in public places.
Right.
And I don't think I'm seen as a person that cries. Not emotionally like that. Maybe cries out of happiness or excitement, but not out of sorrow and heartbreak. And I just felt a wave of emotion over me, and I had to run and like go somewhere because we were at the senior table. Like everyone was there, and I think break had just ended. And I was like, I can't go to class. I was like, I can't. Like, I'm on the verge of hyperventilating, you know? And I think Denise took me to the ASB room, and I just took, like, the rest of third period to, like, calm down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. That's what I mean. Like, Miss Lowenson, she was, like, so concerned for me. And she was like, "You all right, sweetie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. Like, I just need to take a minute and relax." And she was like, "Okay." And I think Dr. Wood walked in too. And she was all like, you know how she's kind of like peppy in the morning? She was all like, you know, she walked in and she goes, "Ooh, is she okay?" And I was like, and I'm like, you know, and she's like, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And she's like, "Does she need to go to the counselor?" And I'm like, "No, I'm okay." Like, I honestly, like, I don't know what just happened. I broke. Like, I just broke.
It really hurt me too. I was very upset about it. And
yeah,
I remember emailing him, I think the day after, just like I'm so sorry for your loss. I can never imagine how you're feeling, and his kids too. And he emailed me like literally like 2 minutes after. It's like he was waiting for me to email him. I don't know. And then he just said like, "Thank you, I really appreciate it." And he legit said like, "I'm leaving yearbook in your hands for now." And I'm just like, ugh, like I felt the pressure. And I'm like, I need to make him proud. And when he came back, it was close to like the senior awards night. So when we saw him in senior awards and he presented the yearbook award to me, it was just kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, we did it. And that Anais got the scholarship named after his wife. It was very emotional too.
Yeah, it was. I honestly, I'm like, I feel for us that really stuck until the end for yearbook. It was hard. Like, emotionally, it was really hard because it was just like, I don't know, like in a weird sense, like I shouldn't have been there, but I was, you know. And like, and coincidentally, like the week I got sick, his wife did too. And like, it was just so routine to be like, you know, "Good morning, how are you? You know, how's she feeling?" Like, you know. And it just stopped, and it was so weird. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then to just be told like, "Oh, you didn't know?" And I'm like, "No, what?" And I remember it got hella quiet, like, and I don't know, I don't even know if you were there at the table when it happened, but they said it, and then like it got quiet, and then everyone like, I felt like it just in an instant everyone whips their head around and looks at me, and I'm just trying not to cry, and I'm staring off, and it just whooshed over me, and it was just like a river of tears came out, and I was like, I need to go, like I cannot be sitting here right now, I need to go. And like Denise like ran me to the ASB room, and she was just like, "Let's go, you know, we don't have to be here, let's go." And I was like, okay, because I can't handle it. I was like, I can't handle it. That's like my number one rule. I will not cry at school.
That sounds like Denise. She's so sweet.
Yeah, honestly, like she sheltered me from embarrassment.
Yeah.
That not just that. It's just I feel like there was a stigma for me in school. I just wasn't an emotional person, or not. I mean, emotional, but not like sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. If I were to ask 100 people I went to school with, like, was I a happy person or a sad? They're like, you were so happy, you were so excited, you were always so like, yay, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. That was the point. That was the point.
Yeah.
That was the point. Is you yeah.
I don't know if I should mention this. I feel like we should because I don't know when we're gonna be able to talk about it. But I want to talk about the fact that you're cancer. That what Mr. Ibarra said to you.
Oh my god. I thought
I feel like we should mention
I was like,
it.
yo, oh, are you telling people I have cancer? I was like, oh my god, that's so serious. Don't do that. And then I was like, I'm a Gemini.
Oh my god. No, but the fact that Mr. Ibarra called you that. I guess we could talk about the whole cross country experience too.
We could talk about
and then end up
dude, okay, so
that.
I'm telling you, like, I think everyone was thrown some sort of like, I'm definitely not saying that what am I trying to say? I'm not saying that everyone didn't experience shitty high school experiences, but I feel like I did a very good job at like suppressing them and just moving them to the side, and again creating this like fantasy Brianna that just like everything's cool, everything's fine, I'm like here for you and here to make you happy, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was pretty shitty. That was pretty shitty. I don't know, what was that, junior year? Yeah, that was junior year, because I did sports my sophomore and senior year, and then junior year was just like that. Yeah, so I got really overwhelmed my junior year with like my mental health, my education, home life, social life, like everything, that I could not do sports. Like I couldn't. Like I was in a really shitty place that like it was the least important thing to me at the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I really only ever did sport. Like, you know, there's people that do sports for like scholarships and it's their future and they're like really working. Yeah, that was not sports for me. Sports for me was literally like to see my friends after school. Yeah. So it was not important to me. Like it really wasn't. And I had told them that I was probably gonna stop, you know, going to practice because my grades were falling. And I feel like in a lot of sports, when you tell your coaches that your grades are falling, they're like, well, pick them up so you can keep running, you know? And I'm like, I'm also really sad, so. Yeah. But, so yeah, I mean, I had given a heads up, like, yo, my grades are kind of slipping. I'm not feeling too hot. This is it's not a priority to me. Like, it's really not. And, so I had stopped going for maybe like a week or two. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or make it sound like I'm over here like, oh my god, I'm so fabulous. But I feel like I do have a little bit of an influence on my friends on like what kind of happens. Again, I'm an extrovert surrounded by introverts. So usually when I say I'm like, I want to do this, everyone's like so indecisive. So they're like, I don't know, should we? And then I'm like, yeah, we should. And then everyone's like, yeah, we should. Yeah. You know? And it's just part of being an extrovert. But so I stopped going to practice, and I noticed like, yeah, a lot of my friends stopped going too, because we would just end up hanging out after school or like, and I was like, I never once told anyone not to go to practice. I did it for myself, and then like they would stop going to practice on their own terms. I'm like, I wasn't over here telling people, oh, stop going to practice and come hang out with me. You know, I'm like, I'm trying to do homework after school. So it was absolutely not like that. And I think I was hanging out with like a couple other people after school that also stopped doing cross country. Again, for their own reasons. Like I didn't tell them to stop running. But so we would all hang out after school and just do homework or hang out. And I remember it was, I don't even know what was happening, but y'all were running like through the forum. And you guys would stop. Like it was like the boys group would run by and then the girls group would run by. And they would stop to talk to us, you know? And I'm like, again, I didn't call them over here. Like they just stopped to come say hi or whatever. And Ibarra came out of nowhere, and he was all like, I don't know. See, I don't even remember a lot of what happened because it was so long ago, but I just remember him telling us that we were cancer to the team and that we were like no good and da da da. And I'm like, sir, I'm literally trying to do homework. I'm like, I'm doing good for my own future. Like, I'm sorry. And it's not even like I was a good runner. I was never varsity.
Right.
So I'm like, you got plenty of JV and, stuff. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, so it wasn't just me that he called cancer. It was like a couple other people that were sitting with me. But yeah, like after that, I was like, wow, like that's pretty toxic. Like that's not a team I really want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Like it was honestly for me very discouraging to want to like go back. And yeah, so I'm like, his choice of words were interesting. So I don't know if who exactly they were directed to, but it was said to all of us at that table, it was like five other people. So it definitely was like discouraging to want to go back the next season. And I didn't go back the next season. I only did track and field because I knew I didn't really have to see them. I just had, AJ, Sam, like hang out with them. I was like, yeah, they were super motivational coaches, super like, I know I was probably, again, not the best athlete.
Yeah.
But they definitely made me feel better about myself, right. Like health-wise, you know, especially Sam. Like she said something to me once about like my body and how she's like don't be hard on yourself, like it's just you. Very like body positive, and I was like, you're right, like yeah, like this, like I took a whole season off. My body is shit now.
Yeah.
But I think after like 3 weeks of conditioning, like hard conditioning, you remember those tire workouts?
Oh hell yeah.
Oh hell yeah. After that,
yeah.
I felt like my body was getting back to where it was. Like I felt good about myself again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a few things that I want to mention about cross country from my perspective. I did it for 4 years, and I have to say my favorite was my freshman year because not only did I have people to look up to, mm-hmm. but we had like our own camps, mm-hmm. where mm-hmm. each varsity athlete would be in charge of these 4 freshman boys or whatever, and we would just run together, and it was fun. And I started it to hang out with friends too, but the more I did it, the more the years passed, it got boring in a sense, and
cliquey.
Yes, and more like the attention was towards the varsity athletes. Yep. I'll get there in a bit when I keep talking, but I feel like if I was a coach and I saw that my athletes were leaving or quitting the team, I'd want to see like what's up, like what can I do to keep you on? Are the workouts too hard, or like what's going on? No, I wouldn't make you feel worse. And my senior year, I don't think I ever finished the season because I left because I was annoyed. I'm like, I have SLU crew meetings at Mondays, so I'll come in late, and I teach tennis on Wednesdays, so I will not be coming in Wednesdays. And they gave me so much shit and made me decide, and I made my decision.
Yeah, so it was not a hard decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gave you 3 years. This is my last year. If you're going to give me shit now, I'm just going to go with the tennis because that's actually what makes me happy. Which is why I love AJ. I told AJ the same shit. He's like, oh yeah, you do you.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah, that's why I was like, I don't, like, I know his heart is in the right place, but I think he fails to realize that this is not a career for some of us. This is not a reason we're going to college. Like, we're not getting scholarships off of track and field and stuff. So I'm like, I think he just kind of got lost in the fact that we were just not feeling that that welcomeness. And I'm like, yeah, like, I remember a time when it was fun, and then it just got not fun, you know? And I was like, yeah, like, your varsity stars, like, they're gonna go do this in college. And they are, like, most of them are still running in college. But for the rest of, and the majority of your team, we're doing this because it's fun, I was like, and we're doing this because we're enjoying being with each other. We're enjoying running with each other. We're enjoying, just like spending time together. And if that wasn't enough for him, then I'd be like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to make a choice, and it's not going to be hard. It's going to be very easy. Because I'm like, yeah, I remember even still having SLU crew meetings. And even afterwards, we would still go run. I was like, it's not that we flat out were like, okay, well, screw you, No, we like, I remember, even during track and field, like, we'd even tell Miss Gardea, like, oh, we can only go for like a little bit, you know, and then we'll pick this up tomorrow, like during the day or like during lunch or whatever. And so I feel like both like SLU crew administration and stuff, like they were pretty understanding about us trying to balance like sports and SLU crew.
Yeah.
But it was just like on the sports side where it didn't feel super supportive.
Yeah. And when they made me pick, I was already pretty pissed because the whole every year they went to Mount Sac, and I already went 2 times.
Yeah.
And I try to go every year, and I love it. But this time the team, they couldn't go. Usually there's a thing where you fill out and you pay and you can go.
I remember that.
This time the coaches were taking
a select few
varsity boys and the varsity girls.
Yeah.
So no one that wanted to go on the team was able to go.
Yeah.
And then, which sucked. But then once I saw pictures, they had a fucking budget staying in hotels and Hollywood and doing all this stuff. And it really upset me because a lot of us really work hard and train the whole season to be able to run in fucking LA, the biggest race in the world.
Yeah, even if we do shitty. Like, again, see, I'm like, nobody would willingly want to do this, but it was fun to us, you know, because we were all together and we were, like, I literally remember my first year doing Mount Sac. I didn't get to run and I literally cried about it. I kid you not, because I think I ended up tearing a muscle, and I still have, to this day, I still have a weird clicking in my hip, over it. But, so I tore up like my, like some muscle in my thigh, and I couldn't raise my leg. Like I remember going to the doctor, and he was like, he put his hand out in front of my leg, and he was like, try to kick my leg. I couldn't. I absolutely, he pushed my leg down and with ease, you know? And he's like, oh yeah, you're not running. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, that's not going to heal in time, because I think we're leaving like in 3 days. And he's like, that's not healing in time, you know? And I was like, well, what am I going to tell my coach? And he's like, that you can't run. And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, like I'm not clearing you. And I was like, and I don't even remember if I think I told Cassidy. I could be wrong, either Cassidy or Katie, because I just needed some support. And I asked them if they would go with me to tell Ibarra that I couldn't run. And I think one of them told me like, oh my God, you look like you were going to cry. And I'm like, dude, I was. Because like it meant a lot to me. It was my first big race. It was my first year doing cross country. I was like super excited for it, and I thought he was going to tell me I couldn't go, but I had already paid for the trip, you know. But I told him, I was like, oh, if you reimburse me, like, you know, I don't have to go. But yeah, I had already paid for the trip and stuff. And I thought he was going to tell me like, you know, you can't go, you know, because you're hurt. But then he was like, no, that's fine. Like, you can, you know, help me out. You can, you know, distribute waters. Like, you can just, you know. And I was like, still be part of the team, even though I was injured. And I was like, okay, awesome. You know, okay. Like, you know, it wasn't a big deal. We had so much fun. Like, I don't know. I mean, low key, I was like, man, I'm kind of glad I didn't run that. Yeah. You know why? It's because I think I got traumatized. I was watching Giselle and like Nani and stuff like leave the starting line, and some girl ate it on the asphalt, black hot asphalt, and she like scratched her face because she started off wrong. Was that you?
Well, not in that race, but I fell in that race.
Oh my God!
I remember being on the ground and looking, being last place, just looking at them, and I was like, should I even try? I was bleeding.
Oh my God. But yeah, I'm like, it's memories like those. Like, even though it was really shitty at the time, like, I remember my first race with Jackie Acosta, and it was I think it was our first year doing cross country, and we both finished last, absolutely last. But I would not leave her because I remember she literally was like, no, I'm gonna walk out of this race, like I'm done. And I'm like, no, you're not. I was like, you're not walking out of this race, because if you're walking out of this race, I'm walking out of this race, and I'm not walking out of this race. And we literally, like, I would not leave her, and I was like, no, like, we're gonna finish the race. And I think we had maybe like half a mile to go. And I think it might have been her second year, because I think she told me she's the one that like got lost last time in the track. Somebody got lost in the track and they ended up coming out through the bushes. I don't remember who that was, but see, I'm like, stuff like that was like really funny. But yeah, we finished, and afterwards I was like, that was really shitty, but we finished, you know? I was like, that is done with. And I think after that, I mean, the races got a little easier. Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
One more thing that kind of annoyed me is, since... I mean, I don't think you guys went through this, but, like, I had to run with boys all the time, and I wasn't really friends with a lot of boys in cross country. I was just friends with you, Brenda, Giselle, Anais, Garo, few more people, I can't remember, but I loved running with you guys because you guys are what made it memorable for me.
Mm.
But to split us up every day, me with the JV boys and you guys with the girls, I don't know, it kind of took away the fun for me, and I didn't really see the difference.
That's why I like track better.
Yeah,
because we would all do it together.
Yeah, and I loved Miss Henderson so much, and I wish I could have worked with her more and have her as a coach. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you're a coach out there, like, do more boys and girl workouts, because there's some boys that, like me, when I was struggling with my sexuality, and I'm just like, I just want to be with my friends. Like, I don't feel comfortable running on my own here. And then I didn't like Pierce because Pierce was already annoying me. And if I could work with other coaches. So that's why when I met AJ just like, he just made me feel comfortable, and he really respected me, and he respected all of his athletes and just made us feel like a big family.
Yeah, definitely.
I loved track.
No, honestly, to me, track and field, so many more better memories. Like, that just, like, I felt better as an athlete. I felt healthier. I felt happier. I felt more involved, like, with the team in general. I wish I had not gotten discouraged my junior year and done track and field my junior year, too. I would have been, actually, I wish I would have done all 4 years, but, because I didn't start doing sports until my sophomore year. But, yeah, like, I wish I would have done it more, because it was so much fun. Yeah.
Would you ever, I was going to ask you if you did track your 4 years, would you have considered doing it in college, or any sport for that matter in college?
That's a good question.
For me, if our school had tennis courts and I was in a tennis team,
I think you definitely,
I would have definitely got a scholarship, and I would have definitely played.
Yeah.
That's why I was not going to go to North County, because I needed to go to a high school that had tennis courts.
That had tennis courts, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a tennis team, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to go to North County either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Watsonville. I was supposed to go to Watsonville High.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was gonna move my sophomore year, actually, and I didn't, because somebody told me to stay, and I idiotically listened. But I mean, I guess I wouldn't take it back now, because then I wouldn't have had you guys. Would you regret it though? I feel like our friendships were solidified at that point. That no, because I still would have lived in the area, and so I still would have been able to see you guys. But I don't know. I definitely think it would have taken my life on a different route. Yeah. Because I would have. Well, the thing was that, like, I had friends in Watsonville. Like, I mean, again, I went to school there all the way until like 4th grade. And from a young age, I've always made just friends everywhere. You know, I was like, I'm an extrovert who is socially dependent on having other people around them, you know? So I'm always surrounding myself with people, and just making friends everywhere. And I remember my literal childhood best friend, we were like conjoined at the hip. We weirdly had teachers like together the same year, you know, like we were just little BFFs. Mm-hmm. And somehow we found each other, because obviously when you're a little kid, I also didn't know I was moving. Like, I was just in the middle of summer and my mom was like, oh, you're moving? And I was like, I didn't even say goodbye to my friends, you know? But so I didn't have any way to contact them. I didn't know where they lived. I didn't, you know, we're just kids. And it wasn't until I think it might have been freshman year of college, or it might have been senior year. I don't even remember. He found me on Instagram and followed me, and I was like, no way. And then like, it felt like a second life of me just like resurrected, you know? He was like, do you remember this person? Do you remember this? Do you remember that? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, like I remember those people. I remember this. And he's like, oh, well, like this is what they look like now. This is, you know? And like all this was coming back to life. And I was like, oh my God. And I don't know, it was so crazy. And then he's like sent me a picture of us when we were like in 2nd grade doing science projects together. And I was like, I'm a science queen, even since I was a little baby. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. Because I remember my mom would always make like stupid jokes and be like, that's going to be your boyfriend. I'm like, that's my best friend. I was like, stop. And And yeah, like, I don't know. And then, because I remember still seeing them even afterwards because I would still go trick or treating. I still did stuff in Watsonville because I still had family in Watsonville, and I would run into them and I would see them and I'd be like, oh my God, hi. And like one of the girls I was like BFFs with, she was my neighbor when I lived in Watsonville. So like I still saw her, but I lost complete contact with them after like middle school. And with him, yeah. And I even invited him to my graduation. And honestly, and every time we try to hang out or see each other, it just never, to this day, it just never like aligned, and I still haven't seen him to this day.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's just not worst case scenarios, but yeah, I mean, yeah, and like really bad timing. But I invited him to my graduation, and I think he ended up getting like a flat tire or something on the way, and he just completely missed it. Like, just was, super late, missed it, and da da da. And he was all like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so bad." And I'm like, "No, don't even sweat it. Like, we'll see each other when we see each other."
Yeah.
But it's been a long time, and we have yet to like actually meet up and like talk about life,
Yeah, that's so
it's
cool.
crazy. Yeah, but I was just like, cuz yeah, it had just been so long that I was like, wow, like I honestly would have thought y'all forgot about me,
Right.
And he was like, no, like we all kept going, and we're like, where are you, And so that I don't know, it just hit a string in the heart. I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. Like, we were all like, where the fuck did she go?
Yeah.
You just like, it's he like, I don't know, the way I met it, I'm like, yeah, I make my presence known with my personality and my voice, so it is noticeable when I'm not there. It's like, why is it quiet all of a sudden?
Right. Yeah. It's like, where's Bree?
Where's Bree? Why is no one laughing? This is weird.
Let's talk about your first semester at college. Well, just your whole experience, I guess, with college. You were going to Cabrillo.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go to Cabrillo or community college for that matter? I guess.
So it in part played with my negative experiences with staff members. So then at that point I was like, fuck a 4-year. I'm just gonna go to community college. My sister did it, and now she's a nurse. So it definitely proves that no matter where you start, the ending is the same.
Yeah.
If you're going, again, for bachelor's, if you're going for just an associate's, endings are different. But again, the beginnings are different, but the ends are all the same. We're all trying to get an education. So to me, it does not matter where you start. It just, the proof is in the pudding. So where you end is your shiny trophy. Like, this is what I accomplished. And whatever that accomplishment is, be proud of it.
Yeah.
And so I chose to do what my sister did, which was community college and then transfer, which is what a lot of us ended up doing, when we all realized how expensive college were, because we're all fed this idea that 4 years are the only option.
Yeah.
But financially, that is not the answer.
Right.
I mean, if you can afford it, go for it. If you got into an Ivy League and you can afford it, go for it. You got a full ride, go for it. Definitely not discouraging that. It's just like, the whole truth should be told. Not just, you have to go to a 4-year. But yeah, so I chose the financial option for me, which was community college and then transfer. And I chose Cabrillo because it was the farthest community college I was willing to not only commute to, but I already knew the campus very well because, again, my sister went to it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to see anyone from high school. And not to say it in a negative or positive way, it's just like, I spent 4 years with you guys. Like, why? I'm trying to brighten my horizons. I'm trying to meet new people. I want to meet new ideas, religions, beliefs. Like, I want to, just expand my horizon by just that little bit, even if it's just an extra 30 miles out. Because I realize everyone's going to go to Hartnell, everyone's going to go to PC. Maybe a couple people went to Gav, but that was too far for me. I was like, I'm not going all the way to Gilroy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with going to Santa Cruz, and again, very familiar with the area. So I was like, I'm comfortable driving there. I'm comfortable going there. I'm comfortable like doing stuff there. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to Cabrillo. And it was nice. I loved it.
Has that always been your goal, to be a nurse?
No, because I'm still in a very confused route when it comes to what I want to major in, what I want to do. So like me doing what I am now definitely is, again, broadening my horizons to see if the medical field is for me. Um, so far, I don't know. Still figuring it out. Still seeing if I like it or not. If I do, then yeah, I'm just gonna, get my degree in nursing. If I don't like it, just get my degree in biology.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're just doing that now. You're trying to like experiment to see if you really want to dive deep into it.
Because if I don't want to commit to it and then like I don't like it,
right,
and I've already put all that money into getting a nursing degree. So yeah, being an MA, I definitely am getting a taste of the medical field. I get to network with doctors. I get to see, I get to feel, I get to ask questions, without fully committing school wise.
Yeah.
And it's a stepping stone. Definitely a stepping stone.
Yeah. So do you like it so far?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I feel like during this pandemic, it's definitely changed a lot. And it's not even just in the medical field. It's in everything. Just everything has changed. But with the medical field, it's definitely impacted it the most. And it's not what I thought it was going to be, because it's not what I was supposed to be doing, if that makes sense. As an MA, I was supposed to do other things. But as an MA during a pandemic, I'm stuck being a COVID screener, and not that like I'm stuck, but it's just like, it's what's really hot right now, there's still COVID or a COVID vaccinator, just COVID related things. And that's what's in demand right now. It's people that can work in COVID settings. And yeah, like I can go try to find one in like a specific medicine or right. But it's just hard. Like, I told you, like I graduated it in 2019 and the pandemic started in 2020, So I didn't get to jumpstart my mini career when I wanted it to, because the pandemic hit, and it was just hard to find a job because so many offices were closing or getting changed into like respiratory clinics, or like they just weren't taking new hires or new graduate, whatever, like it just like changed so fast that I was like, oh my God, and yeah, it wasn't until really this year that I started really working as an MA, and even then I wouldn't even consider it real MA work, because I'm not getting to do what I have not used a single thing I learned in school. Wow. What I do, genuinely, you could do, and you have no medical experience. It's easy. Like, it's genuinely really easy, but it's just because I have like a title attached to me that I'm allowed to do it. But yeah, it's genuinely really, really easy. Like, I spent 8-hour shifts by myself. No manager, no supervisor. I got trained for like 3 days, and then I'm by myself.
Wow.
And that's all I do is just like test, and test.
Yeah. And what have you learned about yourself either through the pandemic or maybe when you started school or whatever? What's like the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself and figured out?
I think oh my gosh, I don't know. I think I've learned a lot. I feel like I've always been a very self-aware person. I think a lot of people who have any sort of trauma have toxic traits or have social problems or whatever, and they're just unaware. And then they're like, holy shit, that's not normal. And then but I feel like I've always been really self-aware of my problems. And which is why it's been very easy for me to suppress them, because I know they're there and I know why they're there. And then I'm like, okay. And then I can, just put it away and keep moving. But during the pandemic, my family, I think definitely, like a lot of people, came to terms with their demons, because they were forced to deal with them since we had nothing else to do. And again, I've always been very self-aware of, who I am, why I am, what causes, I guess, triggers for me or what doesn't, or, how to control certain feelings or whatever, and I think a lot of people, realize like, oh shit, this is not normal, or this behavior is not okay, or like, oh, I shouldn't be treating people like this, or like, oh, I'm actually really depressed, or like, oh wow, I actually have an eating disorder, or like, oh, I actually have anxiety. A lot of people, because my mom, she's an MA and she was working in peds, and she was like, I'm having an overwhelming amount of teenagers or anyone under 18, because peds goes all the way to 18. I'm having a lot of 18 and under kids come in with depression during the whole pandemic. She's like, I've never seen so many kids come in with depression until this pandemic,
Yeah.
And it wasn't just kids, like that was just her department, but adults, like a lot of adults were just like, I have depression, I have anxiety, I have this, I have that. Like a lot of just people were just discovering that they actually had a lot of problems. And so I was watching my family, my friends go through all of these emotions and go through these realizations and these like epiphanies or whatever you want to call them. And I was kind of here like, wow, like didn't everyone just suppress their feelings in a weird way? Like I wouldn't call it a healthy behavior or an unhealthy behavior for me, because I don't know. I'm just weird. But yeah, like I'm watching all these people kind of just like fall to pieces. And I'm like, I really took a look at myself and I was like, I'm not in pieces, but I know I'm not okay, And it just, like I came to terms with a lot of things, and I was like, just because I know what's wrong and just because I know why doesn't mean I'm allowed, or I should be allowing myself to pack it away. I should unpack it. I should deal with it. I should do something about it, And I was like, and in high school, I had tried doing things about it, like actual healthy things. And they just fell through. Like I didn't completely, my mom, like, she did her best, but like, she was very not anti-medication, but she was very like, oh, be your natural self, like this is who you are, trying to make me feel better about myself. And just being like, this is you, like, like the world needs to kind of accept you. And I know she had her heart in the right place, but now I'm an adult with untreated ADHD, and it's horrendous. It is definitely an uphill battle, with side effects, depression and anxiety. But I'm just kind of learning to deal with it one day at a time. Medication is only half of what anything should be treated with, like not just ADHD, like really anything. Medication is not the answer. And maybe it is for some people, but for me, I feel like it's a combination. It's therapy, it's self-love, it's medication, it's surrounding yourself with people you love. It's a lot. And I think like now we all really do preach mental health and stuff, but a lot of us also need to be taking our own advice. And I feel like we are all our biggest critics. At least I am, So I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me or says about me, but I'm really good at putting myself down, I was like, I absolutely will not give a shit about what anyone thinks about me or what anyone says. And I also feel like I've never given anyone a reason to talk shit about me. Like I was never surrounded by drama in high school. Like I know there was a couple people in high school that were always weirdly surrounded by drama or fights or stuff like that. And I'm like, I feel like I've never been fake with like who I am, because again, I mean, clearly y'all know I'm loud. I'm unapologetically me. I'm crazy, No filter. Sometimes it's not good, but you know what? It's just who I am. So I definitely have never been not myself, personality wise. So I feel like if anyone ever talks shit about me, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I gave them a reason to, because I've never lied to them. And so yeah, for the most part in high school, I never had to deal with like drama. I never was like, oh, she's gonna fight me, I'm scared. No, like I was like, no, I'm not about that. Like I'm not gonna surround myself with that. I'm not no. And so like unfortunately there were people in high school that were surrounded by that, which I'm like, I feel bad. Y'all don't put that negativity into your life, especially now. We're adults, and I still have yet to deal with drama. And I don't ever want to like, deal with it because I'm like, now we're adults. It should never happen.
Yeah.
We're all grown, excuse me. But yeah, so I'm like, it definitely is just like becoming not only self-aware of what's wrong, but actually doing something about it,
Yeah. Is there anyone that you can like talk to about those things, like your parents or maybe your sister or whatever? Because thanks to my parents, I will no longer like ever mention eating disorders, anxiety, depression, being colorblind, my sexuality.
My friends are my family.
Yes.
My friend, say it with me. My friends are my family. If my family ever hears this, which they probably will never will, they know I have no ill will for them, but they also know what they have caused. And maybe they don't know, but yes, I have seen tweets where they're like, I want my kid to not be like, oh shit, my mom's gonna kill me, but to be like, oh shit, I need to call my mom. And I'm the, oh shit, my mom's gonna kill me. And I want my kid to be the, oh shit, I need to call my mom. Because that's the kind of level of communication and comfort I want. Because what I have and what you have and what, like, our whole friend group is fucked up, but it's okay because we have each other.
Yes.
But yeah, so if I have anyone to talk to, it's you guys, it's 100% you guys. Like, I feel like after the fork in the road we went through a couple months ago, it really solidifies that, yeah, I don't have anyone else to talk to. Like it really is just you guys that not that I count on you to make sure I'm okay, but like I know if I absolutely cannot exist, that I can just go to you guys and be like, yo, I'm about to fall to pieces. I need help,
Yeah.
I can do that. I can't really do that at home because I've gone since I was 16 years old being like, I'm falling to pieces, and everyone's just like, cool.
Right.
So I've learned that at home I can't really count on emotional support. I don't know what it is. I don't, because I can't complain because I can't complain, but because it's my life, so I can complain, but yeah. I'm not belittling anyone else's home life or life in general. But yeah, like at home, like I wouldn't say I have a shitty house life, but I have a shitty house life. It is what it is. And I've just, yeah, like I've said it several times. I'm like, I go out not to fucking perrear and be a callejera, but it's just because I'm happier with my friends. Just doing stuff. Again, it's the whole reason why I did ASB, freaking 3 clubs, sports, other extracurricular activities. I was always filling my life with busyness, so I wouldn't have to go home and just deal with shit. Like I would just busy, like take 3 AP classes, take honor courses. Like I don't give a fuck. Like whatever it takes to just keep moving and not have to stop.
Yeah, I was the same way. Like I was always so fucking busy, and I'm like, I don't want to go home.
Yep.
Like for what?
For what? Yeah.
Really
for what? To sleep?
Yes.
I'll get home at 2 a.m. then.
And I hated the weekends too, because you're home all day, and it's like,
yep.
Anytime Ibarra said we have weekend training, I'm like,
yes, I'm there. Any volunteers? Yes. Yeah.
But
I'm there.
Yeah, I think it's nice to be able to talk to friends about that, just because we're all going through it at the same time. And our parents, man, like, they're from a different generation. They're from a generation where all this things that we're going through wasn't really talked about. So they're dealing with it their own way, but there's a way to talk to your kids and deal with it and make them feel like they're not going through this alone. And you mentioned having kids, and I don't want kids. I'm so glad we said it. I just said it because I saw it in a tweet. I don't want kids. I don't want kids. Not only from an environmental perspective of there are already too many fucking humans on this planet and we don't need any more. But if you have kids, again, I'm not talking shit about you. I'm just talking about me. But I don't feel like we need any more kids on this planet.
We really don't. Like, I would rather adopt before I have a child. And the
Right.
things like, and that's a whole other, if you will, but like people who are like, oh, those aren't like my kids, you know? I'm like, no, if you adopted them, like they're your kids
Yeah.
as much as they would be if they were your biological children.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would sooner adopt than I would have my own child, because it's just my pants are like I'm like fidgeting with my pants leg because it's, I don't know what's happening to it. But yeah, I don't want kids. I don't want kids. I generally I just I don't know.
Yeah, growing up, people would always mention that. I'm sure they mentioned it too. Like, when you get kids, what
My
about
family,
this?
yeah, my family.
It was always the goal for me, and I'm like, I don't want fucking kids. My sisters made me not want to have kids.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
don't want kids.
you.
Period. I'm tired of going to a restaurant and hearing a kid screaming, and having to deal with that.
I have a dog.
Taking them here, yeah. I'd rather have dogs and cats.
Yep.
But then I thought about it one time. I'm like, I always say, like, if I ever have a kid, I want to teach them about this, and this.
Yeah,
and raise them.
Yeah, I feel it.
But then again, I don't want kids.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if I ever do, because I'm like, I don't know my future. I don't know my future. You know, like I don't know when I'm gonna die. I don't know when I'm gonna get sick. I don't know when I'm gonna get pregnant. I don't know. You know, I don't know anything. I be living life.
Right.
But again, that's what I say. If I do, like, if it just happens, like, I don't know, then I'm like, this is how I would want it to go. But ideally, I don't want any.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm an older sister to two younger siblings. My sister had her very first child. I have a niece. She's like my kid. I love her like my kid. I spend money on her like she's my kid. Like that's my kid.
Kira's your kid.
Kira's also my kid. I love her like my kid. I spend money on her like my kid. Like, you know, like I have a lot of younger cousins that I'm like, you know, I've just been surrounded by children my whole life that I'm like, I don't ever want to be when I'm older. Not like that, you know.
Right. Ugh, kids.
But if you're a kid and you're listening, oh, you're so cute. I love kids. No, the thing is that I do love kids. Like, a Slew Crew, we did so much shit with, like, kids and stuff. And, like, I love kids. It's just I don't want any of my own. You know, I'll just give it back to you when I'm done.
I always said that, like, if I have a kid, can I return it? I just want to see what it's like.
Rent a kid.
For, like, a good year. Yes.
That sounds really creepy. I'm sorry.
I know. I think I'm gonna ask you the questions that I have for you.
Okay, shoot.
This might be my longest podcast episode. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen.
I knew
it. I'm like, when Bree comes, it's gonna be well over an hour, almost 2 hours.
If you made it this far, I hope you're having a great day.
Yes.
You are loved. You are loved.
I'm trying to think who would make it this far.
No one. No one. Me, after I watched when you released it.
Not even
Brianna,
me.
if you're watching this, he's probably going to release this in like a week or two. If
No,
he's busy,
girl,
maybe.
I'm releasing this tomorrow.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I told you.
You better be ready for your interview at 11, okay? You better have your shit put together, and you better have your clothes out, because you better shower. Do not dry shampoo that shit. Shower.
Oh, my God.
And you're going to do awesome.
You know who'll make it this far? Bobby, because he puts it on when he's working, and he just leaves it on playing, so he'll probably make it. All right, a few questions. Rapid fire.
Go for it.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Would you rather be really big or really small?
Like, what do you mean, height? Or like, what do we...
Yeah, I don't want to go with fat and skinny. Let's go with height.
Height? Okay, that's not like, well, what do you mean? I guess bigger.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
The egg.
Homework.
Evolution, buddy. It was the egg.
Homework should be banned. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
Summer is better than winter. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Yeah. Who are better teachers, men or women?
Women and or feminine men.
Yes.
Yep.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, every guy teacher I've had, I just dislike strongly.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Yep.
Children under 16 should be allowed to vote. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Yeah. I know I saw 16. I'm like, when I was 16, I don't think I.
Yeah. Yep.
Children shouldn't be allowed a cell phone until they're over 18.
I would lower it as far as 16.
That's a good age.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would feel more comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18 just feels like forever.
Yeah, I think of 18 and like they've been driving for a bit. I feel like they should have their phone.
Yeah.
What's the best pizza topping?
Ham. It is. Dude, I have a thing for pork. Like bacon, holiday hams, bacon. Bacon.
What's more important, being good looking or being smart?
Damn. It's hard. That's a hard one because there's pretty privilege, but there's also okay. I guess being smart. Yeah, it's because when you're pretty, like I feel like shit is just handed to you.
You're right. Cake or ice cream?
Cake.
Aliens may be living among us. Yes or no?
Yes.
Among us?
Yeah, they're living among us.
Blah blah blah. Boring. The fuck? Is it important to wear a uniform at school?
No. I went to a school that had to use uniforms. Absolutely not.
The Castro Elementary had uniforms for a cool minute.
Alianza, the school I went to, had uniforms.
Candy should be given as a reward in class.
Sure. I don't see why not.
Yeah. I mean, some sort of reward. Doesn't have to be candy, but something. LOL. Students should be paid to go to school.
AP and honor courses, sure. No, just AP courses because fuck those bitches. Like, how you gonna take an AP course, but it doesn't matter unless you got like a 3 above your test.
Yeah.
That's criminal.
Because on my AP test,
I got a 2 on my AP Psych test.
I wish I would have taken AP Psych. But I only passed AP Spanish, and only because I know Spanish.
Oh, yeah. I regret not taking AP Spanish because I know Spanish, and I know I would...
And you wouldn't need a foreign language
you wouldn't need a foreign language in school. Damn.
Should students be allowed to use cell phones in class?
No.
Yeah, it's like...
I don't see... I mean, like, if
lunch,
you need technology, then you just do, like, a school laptop.
Mm-hmm. Which is better, tap water or bottled water?
Bottled, unfortunately. But I Brita filter my tap water.
I can't remember the last time I used a plastic water bottle.
I don't use plastic water bottles. Yeah. I only had to at work because, like, legally... I'm about to sue my work, and y'all about to know why. You're supposed to provide your employees with water. Like, that's a law thing, is that you need to have water on the premises for your employees.
Oh, okay.
You thinking about your dad? You're like, does he have water for us?
I'm like, we don't have water.
Really? No, yeah, it's like a California law thing that
you're
supposed to have like an X amount of gallons per employee.
Okay.
We had no water on our site for like a week, and so she just bought bottled water bottles. But I brought my hydro every day, and another tumbler with coffee or tea. So I never used them, but I was like, or like even when I'm like with people and they offer me a bottle of water, like they're, Anais, if you're listening, I'm not trying to throw shade because she did it, but like if I'm like, oh, can I have a glass of water? Like, can I have some water? And they bring me a bottle of water, and I'm like, oh,
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't buy bottled water. I don't really reach for bottled water. The only time I ever will was like, let's say I've been out all day and I forgot my hydro and I need to hydrate myself. I'll buy a bottle of water, but that rarely ever happens.
All of you, make sure you have a reusable water bottle. Try to have reusable like silverware, stuff like that, like a fork. I have my own fork, spoon, knife. Have a reusable straw. Like just do your best, right, Brie?
You literally want to know what I have in my purse right now? Reusable chopsticks.
I have chopsticks too. They're made out of wood, yeah.
Metal reusable chopsticks because I be eating sushi way too much and I'll be having these dead ass or poke bowls and stuff.
Oh yes.
A good seaweed salad. Ooh.
Oh my god, that's so good.
I know. I'm probably gonna go eat after this.
What's Anais doing?
I don't know. You want to go get food? I haven't eaten something since like 11 o'clock in the morning. So we can get some food.
I think we should end this because this is very long.
Some linguine.
All right.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Bree for stopping by.
Of course.
And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.